Hi everyone. I wanted to explain the different tactics law enforcement, the Norwalk Police Department, used to carry out the harassment involving the ambulance department. They both share a building here in Norwalk, Iowa, and recruiting large numbers of people in the community. And it reminds me of the whole Donald Trump attack on, our government. It's the same thing. It's like basically the same playbook, if you ask me. You got lies, defamation of character to ensue a witch hunt on a target. You got people upset. You got people concerned because, for instance, my character would get assassinated so bad, people would tell me, oh, well, we're not allowed to talk to you. Oh, you're dangerous. Or you do drugs. That I was heavily involved in some type of criminality. So you got, assassination of character. And then they're frauding. The police are using these people as their minions to carry out their crimes because they're brainwashing them in huge meetings. They're carrying out, organizing these meetings, advising these people. They're covering up the crimes these people carry out against you by the cops lying about it, by telling you, oh no, that's not what your eyes saw. That's not what's going on. And they will obstruct your ability to carry out justice by not doing a police report. They'll make any excuse, do anything they can, because they're the ones who are in charge of leading this corruption. Being a puppeteer to the community. They organize, they orchestrate, they carry out, they advise, they lie for these people, they sweep the crimes under the rug. So when you have police officers lying, hiding their behavior, lying and hiding and sweeping under the carpet, the behavior these people carry out that violate laws, civil rights, human rights, that goes into your job where your employment rights are being abused, or they're doing it where you live, your tenant rights are being abused, and your manager happily takes part in it. When they coerce, pressure, or bribe someone to join this negative force that divides the community, it's a false manufacturing. It's fraud manufactured of dividing the community, creating hostility in the community where there should be none, where there needs be none, where there wouldn't be any had the police not be leading this type of insanity that corrodes and destroys the community. It creates hostility and division in the workplace. And they're able to bully people, coerce people, lie to people, convince people, bribe people, pay people. Because these cops do this because at the end of the day, they're stealing money from taxpayers. They're creating a false narrative and staging a false witch hunt. Oh yeah, she's being investigated. Oh really? What did I do? What am I doing wrong? How come I haven't been arrested? Where's the court orders to have, me surveillance to my apartment? Where's the subpoenas? I talked to Chief Staples twice in November or the fall of 2021. I explained what was going on because it was creating an inability for me to function, to go to work, to come to the store, go to the store, come from the store, to have friends, to have co-workers, camaraderie at work, to have teamwork at work, to be able to follow through and have a job. And I explained the activity and the cars they put outside the exits of my building and along the street. And he goes, okay, the police are harassing you. I'll tell them to stop. That never happened. So when we got the police leading this type of corrosion and cancer in our society so they can fraud the American people and get taxpayers' money on the back end, and all their little domestic terroristic members that they recruit, brainwash, get a piece of the pie? Why do I have to be the scapegoat for everyone else's law breaking? My manager, the one who fired me, saying Christians are going to be persecuted, she's admittingly, she's a meth addict. My manager has a past of being vulnerable to drugs and alcohol. And to the point where it can destroy his life. So the tactics the police use are unfathomable. Now, I'm going to move on, because one of the things they started doing, I'm going to get back into what I was talking about, was they started abandoning cars in the parking lot that were parked sideways. And this was to surveillance me, to be able to follow through with their recruitees or people they recruited to watch me as I'm in the store, if I'm in the back of the store, the front of the store, if I'm coming or leaving. They would have these cars obstructing the flow of parking, which they're supposed to be parked like this, straight. They were obstructing the air pump, so people couldn't use the air pump. They were obstructing the ability for the parking lot to get snow plowed, because it snows like a blizzard out here. And when it's below, the wind chill gets real low and it's snowing heavily, it's gotten below 30 degrees, below zero. So the problem is that not only was it a nuisance and these people were obstructing our ability to function, the business to function, but you have people that from the community being asked to do this by the police. Cars with bullet holes were being abandoned and parked sideways. They always wanted to park sideways like this so they can keep watching here. And some of these cars ended up having no license plates, had bullet holes along the sides and fronts of the car. One of them had a bullet stuck in the antenna. So these tactics were also trying to instill fear when I would work, because I would have to close. I would have to count large amounts of money. I would be responsible for the security of the store. You're the accountant, you're the cashier, you're the security guard, you're the maintenance person. You're a one person, one show, one man show. So you got the cops sitting blocks away watching what's going on as you're getting terrorized and harassed. As they've orchestrated and advised people to carry out this insanity. So one of the things I learned was from a customer. She came in and she told me people were getting shot in the face. Well, no, she told me stores were getting broken into all throughout Des Moines because she had a police scanner. That was a huge security issue for me, with the police leaving these cars in the parking lot all hours of the day and night for days. One of the cars they left had a license plate called Fix It. The license plate said Fix It, Fixit, and it was either from Wyoming or Wisconsin. I think it was Wisconsin. Now I looked online, and sure enough, the stores were getting broken into, and I asked her, did they catch these people? And she said no, they never have. So when you have something that is so obvious as to be an inside job, they can't catch these bandits, and then lo and behold, people are getting hurt at these stores. The clerks, a person got shot in the face in the parking lot. They can't catch these bandits, but they can know from home automation what room I'm in, what appliance I'm using, what I'm saying in my apartment if I'm looking out the window. Because they tell me. My landlord hasn't denied it in an email. They're proud of it. So you got all this going on. There's a security issue with the money and the safety of myself, my coworkers, and the customers. So this is the ongoing stress and division and hostility and just insanity these cops manufacture. It's all fake. It doesn't exist, but they'll manufacture it. It's unnecessary, and it wouldn't exist if they were not up to these crimes, carrying out these crimes that they hide and cover for. They hide and lie about these crimes. When these people get caught and you want to do a police report, they will obstruct your ability to carry out your right to do a police report. They will obstruct that. And they've done it to me, and you've seen Officer Skygle do it on Christmas. Now, Officer Skygle came out and took photos of the car with the bullet holes. And he knew exactly what was going on, and he acted and played dumb. There's records of me towing these cars, and my manager was so sick of it. We would have conversations about the intensity and how it was getting out of hand and affecting our work environment and our ability to come and go from work safely. The cops don't care here. They will bully their way. They will convince you. They will pressure. They will bribe people to carry out what they want. It doesn't matter if it violates employment laws, civil rights laws, human rights laws, or even your tenant laws, because they get everyone involved, including your landlord and people that live in your building. It's the sickest thing I've ever seen. If that's not psychotic, if you're not insane, it's like Donald Trump's playbook. They get their minions to carry out their crimes. Oh yeah, we're going to give these criminals impunity by making sure no one does a police report on them. Like Kushner manufacturing all those pardons. I really hope the committee finds those pardons null and void, and people get held accountable for the violence and the planning of the attack on our government. It's no different than what's going on in Norwalk, Iowa. So my manager started dissuading people from abandoning their cars in the parking lot. This woman, they were insistent on parking against the flow and leaving the car. And because I was towing these cars, I wasn't putting up with it. They started trying to finagle their way. Oh, my car's not working. I'll be back later. And my manager saw this woman driving her car. So he goes, I'll drive it across the street so you can leave it across the street in the parking lot over there. Because right down there's a bar. Anybody can park along that street over there or in the parking lot, empty parking lot across the street. Plus, the cops always sit there. They're watching all this go on. It's like entertainment for them. They're putting you in hostile situations that are not safe, hoping that you will slip up so they can come in and arrest you. Meanwhile, everyone gets to carry out their criminality. Their planned, organized harassment and stalking. So this woman would not allow my manager to help her take the car across the street and park it there. And my manager, he's from here. He would tell me, this is, you need to do something. He goes, if you're going to turn these people in, you better hurry up, because it was getting worse. It wasn't getting better. It wasn't just a couple of times this stuff was happening. It was every day, all into the night. When I was towing these cars out of the parking lot, again, there's records of this, Crow Tow. The police had someone park a car across the street so they can keep an eye, surveillance us from across the street, so they can still carry out the harassment and the stalking when they wanted. And so that's exactly what they did. I have a video on that, so I got to pull that up. I believe I still have it. Also, we were being followed to and from work if my manager was giving me a ride or if we went to go get something to eat. One night, the man from Christmas, who was a nuisance, he wasn't a nuisance that night when he came in the store, but in prior times, he was. That's why he was told he couldn't come in the store and go shopping when I'm there. He has to come at a different time. But he insisted on coming on Christmas night. He wasn't sober. He has weapons in his van, his truck. And he could have went across the street, but because the cops are orchestrating this insanity, they're watching too. They're right nearby when all this stuff's going on. They have the ability to listen to what's going on in our store. The guy from Christmas, one night out of the blue, found me and somehow showed up out of nowhere as me and my manager are getting Mexican food after work. This guy starts chasing us in his car. He wasn't driving his white truck. He was driving a black car. We were being chased on the freeway. Stalked. It's like a high-speed chase. And when we got off the exit, he got off the exit. And then guess who shows up? Officer Skygel. So, you know, you got insanity 24/7 going on. Now, we also had customers coming into the store that were once my friends, but once one of them lived in my building and she worked across the street. She ended up catching COVID. And so she would come in the store and she would try to get my manager to not work here no more. She was trying to get him to go across the street and work. Or she was trying to get me to go across the street and work and have him stay here. So one day, what she was trying to do wasn't working. And she says, well, we don't want you guys being together. The community doesn't want you guys being friends. So you got the police so heavily involved doing anything it takes. They see who your friends are. They see who you talk to. They'll get people to turn on you with their witch hunt lies, with their slander, libel, assassination of character. And these people think they're doing a duty. Some of them think they're actually doing a duty for their community. This girl went as far as lying and saying the store across the street where she worked at bought out my store. They didn't. It was a lie. They had this guy come into the store and befriend my manager. He went in. He was a total stranger, not from here. He's from California where I was. And not only did he tell my manager in a very strange way, oh, come over, let's hang out. Come over after work. But he was bad-mouthing me, and I had never met this guy. And he was trying to get my manager to not be friends with me, to put things in his head to where he would harass me at work or would hurt me or would find a way to get me fired. And the way the police did this was they had this guy. I found out his name is Robbie. He lived on Lakewood Boulevard. He is a meth addict that was in rehab in California. And he was planted just like the woman I told you who was trying to separate me and my manager. They didn't want no one in this community being friends with me. They had this meth addict come in the store, befriend my manager, who was only 24 years old at the time, and managed to find a way to get control of him and work with them instead against them after my manager had witnessed all the harassment going on at the store and how it was affecting our ability to work and the safety of the customers and ourselves. You know how they did that? They got my manager hooked on meth. They got my manager, who already drinks a lot because his parents were alcoholics. They know my manager has a weakness for meth and drugs because my manager, Jennifer, the one who said Christians are going to get crucified, she's a meth addict. She admits it. The store knows. So the cops know who's doing what and who's what. So when the store and the cops, the store just goes along with what the cops wants, violating people's, employment rights. And people are subjected to harassment and being in endangerment by the police, being staged and being planned by the police. My manager stopped coming to work. He was not showing up to work for weeks. He had the store key to lock to come and go, and he just kept it. He wasn't showing up to work, and he would get violent to the merchandiser. He would go crazy, accuse her of being paranoid that she has his keys. This guy almost killed me. He was at one time my friend, but he was being pressured by the police and the people working with the police to not have nothing to do with me, so I could walk home alone, so I would be by myself. And the reason behind that is because when they are waging this type of harassment and putting you in harm's way and using the community, brainwashing the community, paying the community, bribing the community, pressuring the community, coercing the community to take part in crimes that violate the Constitution and your rights, they want you alone. They don't want no witnesses. They want to be able to do what they want to you. So when you say, listen, I want this to stop, I want to make a police report, their response is, oh, you're mentally ill. That's not what happened. They could not stand having someone being witness to what they were doing, what they were unleashing. So my manager was incapable to function at work. My manager almost killed me. He almost choked me to death. He's bitten me. He almost killed me with the frying pan in the hallway of my apartment complex. He couldn't manage to take care of himself. And he was passing out drunk in my parking lot. And you know what the cops would tell him? Put a cap on it. They told my job not to get him fired. So my job was pleading with him to come back to work. Anybody, and I'm just going to say it, you're a lawbreaker, you're doing drugs, you're being violent, you're breaking the law, and as long as the cops are having you do it or trying to get you in a position where you're going to do it so their ends will be met, they were advising my employer not to fire him, so he never got fired. So he just didn't go back because he was incapable of functioning, and he was embarrassed. He ended up getting arrested. And I happened to be in the car with him at the time when he started acting from, being normal to acting crazy. Because I don't do drugs, and I don't like the guy who came into the store to befriend him and did this to him. And I told my manager, I don't want to be friends with you if you're going to hang out with people like that. This guy, Robbie, has a 12-year-old daughter, and has all these guys go to his house and they do meth, and the cops know they don't do a thing about it. But I have to pay for the crimes. I'm blamed for the crimes everyone else is doing. So we have all this going on, and they basically almost killed my manager. Now, the reason he got arrested eventually was a DUI, and then he what led up to that is because they allowed him to drive under the influence every day, all day. And that particular night, when I realized he was abusing drugs or fell off the bandwagon, we were fighting. I would tell him, I don't want to be around this, and it was just creating so many problems. He kicked in his bedroom window, and he went outside saying crazy things, and his neighbors heard him. And it was so bad what he was saying to himself out aloud in the middle of the night. They called the cops, and the cops came and arrested him. And I was being dropped off at the time when the cops arrested him. So the cops have manufactured and created one time ticking bomb after another. Now, the guy Robbie who came to the store, who never knew me, who turned out to be from California, turned out to be a meth addict, turned out to be in rehab in California, who was bad mouthing me to my manager who never met me. He, on Beardsley, on the side street, there's a street back here, Beardsley. My customer witnessed this guy flipping his truck over, flipping it in a ditch. Now, nothing happens to these white lawbreakers, and I'm just going to say it, especially the ones that are told to carry out this insanity by the police. Nothing happened to this guy. This guy would know when I'm leaving my apartment, walking down the street to go to the store, because he'd be coming in his truck. And again, I'm surveillanced by the police. Falsely, unjustifiably, it's unwarranted. And they're breaking the law. And my own manager said they're breaking the law. Because it wasn't just the police doing this to us. It was the ambulance department. You know, the ambulance would come in and make comments that were unnecessary, trying to like trigger or cause unnecessary stress. And it could be something as childish and trivial as, oh, running a store is such a big responsibility. Or asking for a tobacco product and you can't hear them because they're talking so low. And then when you ask what, then he'll like out loud, very loud say, oh, never mind, forget it, never mind. Or, you know, cars are being left in the parking lot with bullet holes, and I let him know, tell his little cop friends, I'm towing these cars. He's like, oh, are they still harassing you? The cops are still harassing you. And this guy is doing this stuff in his uniform, ambulance uniform, with the ambulance truck outside. Okay? Another thing this ambulance guy did was one night I took off in my manager's van to go get us some food. And because they have that gray car across the street surveillancing us, immediately right there, the ambulance guy walks into the store and goes, hey, where's she go? Where's she at? Where's she at? You know, why should she take off in your van? What the hell is going on in Norwalk, Iowa? So we were so disgusted by everything we had experienced. I said, I'm going to call the supervisor at the ambulance department and ask them what's going on, why is it going on, and will it stop? So I called non-emergency. And when you're a targeted individual and they track your phone, they hack your phone, and you try to get help, your calls will be dropped, or they'll have someone pick up the phone that won't help you and will harass you, will give you a hard time. So when I called non-emergency, I talked to this guy, Chris. He refused to give me the phone number because I couldn't find it online, a number that I could call and talk to a supervisor at the fire department. And I have that call recorded. And I let him know, there's no need to send out the police. There's no need to send out the ambulance. There's no emergency. I just need to have a conversation with the supervisor. And he was getting, being rude. Well, what exactly happened? I go, again, no law, death-threatening thing happened, but there's something that we witnessed that we just want to talk to the supervisor about. And because I didn't break it down and tell him, and I'll play that phone call for you, he sent the police. So William Reed and some other officer came over, and they wanted to know kind of like what was going on, because at the end of the day, the cops could get in trouble for everything that they've created. And I recorded that, having them here at the store, and I'm going to play that guy for you guys too. So you have the ambulance department involved, the police department. So guys, I just wanted to give you an idea of what was going on, the tactics the police department and the ambulance department created in order to harass us. And the sad thing is, I'm not friends with my manager no more. It was unsafe for me. Again, he almost killed me. And when I told the police what was going on, they didn't do a thing about it, because their whole goal was to get my manager to work against me, to keep me isolated, not help me, to try to help, get me fired. My manager had sexually harassed me, and when I didn't follow through with that, he was working with the police, allowing them to abandon cars, do things that were against the store policy. And the police had pressured the store and HR so bad. That's why they fired me the way they fired me. So this is what they're doing in Norwalk, Iowa, to make an extra buck. And I just wanted to try to be as thorough as possible. But also, we also had customers coming in that we didn't know, people we didn't know coming in the store, questioning us about little trivial things that they saw or they think is going on. And, they thought they could loiter or, demand free coffee or throw merchandise across the store like a newspaper. They get a license by the police to misbehave, because the police tell them nothing's going to happen to them. The end result they want is for me to get in trouble, for me to be locked away. Now, I know I have a mission in this world, and there's certain things I need to expose. I have to live through. So, my goal is to, we're going to fight for Jesus Christ in the courts. And I don't want to get into other things, but they're doing everything they can. They're keeping me jobless. They told my last employer after Get and Go to fire me and just tell me I'm mentally ill. So there's certain cars that were stalking me on my way to my job to see what the schedule and routine was and what was going on. And then they went over there and did what they did. There was a Tesla at all hours of the day and night leaving when I was leaving, and I'm going to expose that person. My landlord's behind it, allowing this to happen. So when you're victimized on your own property and you're kept jobless and you're defamed and slandered, and then they want to throw rocks, but then as soon as you address it and want it to stop and demand to know why it's going on and what's going on, they throw rocks behind your back, but then they hide their hands. So I just wanted to give you guys an idea. So you can kind of see what's been going on from November to today, which we're in June. Nothing stopped. It continues to go on. So yeah, I'll be playing some more videos for you. My devices have been getting hacked. My landlord and my past employer were sending me links to hack my phone and so there's a lot of stuff I have to talk about, but we're going to fight what's going on in the courts. Again, we're going to fight for Jesus Christ. And I just hope everyone's doing well. It's been real stressful. So if you get a chance to think of me and you are a person that prays, please say a prayer for me. And I'll see you guys on the next video. I haven't been able to upload any videos because my whole system's been corroded. Oh, and lastly, I want to say I got a video I ordered from the police department from the very first time I called the police. And what I got back was a video. It wasn't a video. It was all full of graphics covering the video. They chopped and spliced and rearranged the audio. So what the things the officer told me were taken out that could hold him accountable. And I understand, since I don't have a big lawyer and I don't have money and I'm not powerful, that there's people above us who can get access to that video untampered. Okay, guys, I'll see you on the next video. And, in the meantime, be good to each other. Bye, everyone.